I sat in the cold leather chair across from Marcus Reynolds, my boss, the man who held my career in his hands. I had rehearsed this moment 100 times, picturing the way he would smile as he finally acknowledged my hard work. 5 years. 5 years of early mornings, late nights, and sacrificed weekends. I had landed the biggest clients, cut costs, and streamlined operations single-handedly. This promotion wasn't just something I wanted, it was something I had earned. Yet as Marcus leaned back in his chair, a smug smirk stretching across his face, I felt something shift. A strange, sinking feeling pooled in my stomach as he cleared his throat. "Look, Izzy, you're great at what you do. No one's denying that." I arched an eyebrow. I didn't like where this was going. "But," he continued, "we decided to go with Jessica for the promotion." The words hit me like a punch to the chest. Jessica. The office sweetheart who barely did any real work. The one who knew how to laugh at the right jokes, compliment the right people, and play the office politics game perfectly. I blinked, waiting for an explanation, some kind of justification. "Jessica she brings energy to the team," Marcus said, waving his hand as if that alone should make sense. "You're too focused on results, Izzy. You need to be more of a team player." I clenched the armrests of my chair so hard my fingers ached. Too focused on results? What kind of ridiculous excuse was that? My results had built this company, and now I was being told they didn't matter. That my dedication, my innovations, my ability to transform this department meant nothing because I wasn't charming enough at company happy hours? The room felt too small, the air too thick. But I wouldn't give Marcus the satisfaction of seeing me break. I forced a neutral expression, burying my fury deep inside. Then slowly, I reached into my bag and pulled out a crisp white envelope, sliding it across the desk. "I understand," I said evenly, "and I appreciate you letting me know. Here's my resignation letter. My last day will be in 2 weeks." Marcus blinked, his cocky confidence faltering for the first time. "Izzy, let's not be hasty." "It's not hasty," I cut him off, my voice calm but firm. "I've given it a lot of thought, and you're right, I am focused on results. That's why I've decided to take my talents somewhere they'll actually be valued." I stood up, straightening my blazer, feeling an unexpected thrill of power rush through me. Marcus was still gaping at me like he couldn't believe what was happening, and that's when I knew he never saw this coming. As I walked out of his office, my heart pounded, but I kept my posture strong. Because what Marcus didn't know, what no one in this company knew, was that I wasn't just leaving. I was about to change everything. The moment I stepped out of Marcus's office, I could feel the weight of every eye in the room on me. News traveled fast in this place, and I had no doubt that Jessica was already smirking from her desk, thinking she had won. But Jessica had no idea what was coming. I walked back to my desk, ignoring the fake smiles and sympathetic glances. They didn't matter anymore. None of them did. I had given everything to this company, and in return, they had sidelined me for someone who barely lifted a finger. But what they failed to realize was that I had been playing a much bigger game all along. For the past 3 years, I had been working on something in my spare time, something far more valuable than this company's approval. A revolutionary project management system. What started as a way to keep track of my own work had evolved into something much more powerful. It could predict bottlenecks before they happened, streamline operations, and cut project times in half. And the best part? It was all mine. A week before submitting my resignation, I had filed for a patent on my system. It had been approved last week. Every algorithm, every line of code, every strategy I had developed, it all legally belonged to me. I smiled to myself as I began quietly downloading copies of all my work files. Not to steal them, I had no interest in their outdated methods, but to ensure I had proof of everything I had contributed. Because when this company inevitably crashed and burned without me, I wanted the world to know exactly why. That evening, as I sat in my apartment, my laptop open in front of me, a new email popped up in my inbox. Subject: coffee meeting. My breath caught. Robert Chen, Chief Executive Officer of Chen Industries, the biggest competitor to my soon-to-be former employer. I clicked it open. Izzy, I heard through the grapevine that you're leaving Meridian Corp. I've been following your work for a while, and I'd love to chat. I think there's an opportunity here that could be beneficial for both of us. Coffee on me? Robert, I let out a slow breath, my pulse racing. I had expected this moment, but seeing it materialize this quickly was a rush like no other. I grabbed my phone and typed a quick reply. Robert, I'd love to chat. Izzy. Then, I closed my laptop, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time: excitement. Because while Marcus and Jessica were busy celebrating their short-lived victory, they had no idea that I was about to change the game entirely. The next morning, I walked into the sleek, modern cafe where I was set to meet Robert Chen. My heart pounded in my chest, but my face remained calm, composed. This was my moment. I spotted Robert immediately. Tall, confident, the kind of man who had built an empire on recognizing talent before anyone else did. He looked up as I approached, a knowing smile already on his face. Isabella Carter, he greeted, shaking my hand firmly. I have to say, I've been waiting for this conversation. I settled into the seat across from him, my posture strong. I'm intrigued, Robert. What exactly have you heard? He chuckled, setting his espresso down. That you single-handedly turned Meridian Corp's operations around. That you developed a system that's practically running their entire workflow, and that they just made the biggest mistake of their careers by letting you walk out that door. I raised an eyebrow. So, he knew. Good. I didn't have to waste time proving my worth. He leaned in slightly. Now, what I really want to know is, what's your next move? I took a sip of my coffee, letting the silence stretch for just a second too long. Then, I slid a folder across the table. This? Robert opened it, his eyes scanning the detailed breakdown of my project management system, the analytics showing just how much money and time it had saved Meridian Corp. After a minute, he exhaled and shook his head. This is genius. I know. He chuckled at my confidence, flipping to the last page, the patent approval in my name. His eyes flicked up to mine. So they really have no claim over it. Not a single one. The moment hung in the air, electric with possibility. Then, Robert leaned back and smiled. All right, Izzy. Here's what I'm thinking. I listened as he laid out his offer, not just a job, but a partnership, full creative control, triple my previous salary, a percentage of the company's profits. He wanted to implement my system across every division of Chen Industries. I kept my expression neutral, but inside I was already celebrating. I extended my hand. You've got yourself a deal. Robert shook it, his grin widening. Welcome to the winning team. As I walked out of the cafe, I didn't look back. Meridian Corp had chosen politics over performance, and now they were about to learn just how big of a mistake that was. 2 weeks later, I stood outside the glass-paneled entrance of Chen Industries, taking in the moment. This was it, the beginning of something far bigger than anything Meridian Corp could have ever imagined. I walked inside, my heels clicking against the marble floors as I made my way to my new office. My office. It was nothing like the cramped cubicle I had left behind. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. A sleek desk sat in the center, and on the wall behind it, My name, etched onto a glass plaque. Isabella Carter, Director of Strategic Innovation. Before I could sit, Robert appeared in the doorway, a newspaper in hand. "You're going to love this," he said, tossing it onto my desk. I glanced at the headline. Meridian Corp faces crisis. Major clients jump ship, following internal mismanagement. I smirked. It had begun. I read through the article. 3 of Meridian's biggest clients had ended their contracts. Complaints ranged from delayed projects to inefficiency, problems that had never existed when I was there. "They're scrambling," Robert said, amusement in his voice. "I'd be surprised if Marcus isn't already regretting every decision he's made in the last 6 months." I wasn't surprised. Jessica was drowning, unable to keep up. Marcus had chosen flash over substance, and now it was blowing up in his face. Just as I finished the article, my phone buzzed. A name I hadn't seen in weeks flashed across the screen. Marcus. I leaned back in my chair debating whether to answer. Let him sweat a little longer, or hear him out. Curiosity won. "Marcus, to what do I owe the pleasure?" I said smoothly. There was a pause, then his voice came through, tight with barely concealed desperation. "Izzy, let's cut the games. You know why I'm calling." I let silence stretch for a moment. Let him squirm. "I have an idea," I said, feigning innocence. "But why don't you spell it out for me?" A sharp breath on the other end. "We need you back." I bit back a laugh. "Oh, this was going to be fun." "We're facing some challenges," he admitted. "Jessica isn't—" He hesitated, then sighed. "She's not handling the workload." "No kidding." I tilted my head, though he couldn't see me. "So, you need me to clean up your mess?" Marcus cleared his throat. "Look, I'll make it worth your while. Name your price." Now I did laugh. He really thought this was about money. "You already made your choice, Marcus," I said coolly. "And I've made mine." I hung up, letting the finality of my words sink in. Meridian Corp had underestimated me. Now, they were watching their empire crumble. Days passed, and I didn't give Marcus's call another thought until an email from David, my old colleague, landed in my inbox. Subject: "You need to see this." Curious, I opened the email and found a link to a leaked internal memo from Meridian Corp. The document detailed massive financial losses, upcoming layoffs, and a desperate attempt to regain control over spiraling project delays. But the part that caught my attention? Marcus and Jessica were both on the chopping block. I smirked, shaking my head. So, the board had finally woken up. The phone on my desk rang, pulling me from my thoughts. It was Robert. "We have an opportunity, Izzy," he said. His tone was smooth, calculated. 3 of Meridian's former clients reached out today. They want to work with us." I grinned. Of course they do. After all, they were the same high-profile accounts I had once managed before Marcus dismissed my contributions. "They specifically asked for you," Robert added. That gave me pause. They weren't just coming to Chen Industries. They wanted me. Robert continued, "I think we should set up meetings, but I'll leave it to you. If you want to close these deals, you should be the one leading the charge." I leaned back in my chair, tapping my fingers against the polished desk. This was poetic. Meridian's clients, Marcus's prized accounts, were slipping through his fingers and straight into my hands. "Set the meetings," I said. "Let's make this official." The moment I hung up, my office phone rang again. Blocked number. I hesitated before answering. "Izzy, please don't hang up." It was Jessica. Oh, this was rich. "Jessica, I'm surprised to hear from you," I said, feigning innocence. "You must be busy, what with running an entire department and all." Her voice cracked. "I need your help." I let that sit for a second. Jessica, the woman who had stolen my promotion, taken credit for my work, and walked around like she owned the place, was now begging me for help. Help with what? I asked. She let out a shuddering breath. Everything is falling apart. I can't do this. The clients are leaving. The deadlines are impossible, and Marcus is turning on me. He's blaming me for all of it. I didn't respond. I wanted to hear her say it. I should have never taken the promotion. It was never supposed to be mine. It should have been you. There it was, the truth. I exhaled slowly. You're right. It should have been me. Jessica let out a choked laugh. I thought I could handle it. But I was never good enough, was I? I didn't do the work. I just played the game. And now, it's over. I leaned forward, a wicked satisfaction settling in my chest. That's the thing about taking credit for someone else's work, Jessica, I said. Eventually, you have to prove you earned it. I hung up, letting her sit with her failure. Meridian Corp was crumbling, and I was about to take everything they had left. 2 weeks later, the business world erupted with headlines about Meridian Corp's downfall. Meridian Corp faces major losses as clients flee to competitors. Former top clients cut ties with Meridian, citing project delays and poor leadership. CEO Marcus Reynolds under fire for mishandling key accounts. I sat in my office, sipping my morning coffee, scrolling through the news with a satisfied smirk. Every article confirmed what I already knew. Marcus and Jessica had built their careers on borrowed success, and without me, it was all falling apart. My phone vibrated, and Robert's name flashed across the screen. It's done, Izzy, he said the moment I answered. They signed. All 3 of Meridian's former top clients are officially ours. I leaned back in my chair, closing my eyes for a moment, letting the victory settle deep in my bones. And Marcus? I asked, already knowing the answer. Robert chuckled. From what I hear, the board just forced his resignation. I exhaled, the final piece clicking into place. Marcus was out. My old boss, the same man who dismissed my talent, stole my work, and handed my promotion to a fraud, had finally tasted his own medicine. Before I could reply, another email notification popped up on my screen. Subject: an offer for you. From Meridian Board of Directors. Oh, this was interesting. I opened the email, my heartbeat steady, but my mind racing. Dear Ms. Carter, given the recent leadership changes at Meridian Corp, we are seeking a highly capable executive to help us restructure and restore the company's reputation. Given your past contributions and industry expertise, we would like to formally offer you the position of Chief Executive Officer. I stared at the words, a slow smile spreading across my lips. They wanted me to fix their mistakes. They wanted me to save them. The same company that had undervalued me, overlooked me, and pushed me aside was now begging me to take control. Oh, how the tables had turned. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I crafted my response. Subject: an offer for you. Thank you for your consideration. However, I must decline. I am exactly where I need to be, wishing you the best in your future endeavors. I hit send. For a moment, I pictured Marcus, reading the news about my success, realizing I had everything he lost: respect, power, and the clients he fought so hard to keep. I wasn't just winning, I had already won. A week after rejecting Meridian Corp's desperate offer, I received an unexpected text. Marcus, can we talk? I let out a small laugh, shaking my head. Oh, Marcus, now you wanted to talk? Curious, I responded. Me. About what? It took him a few minutes to type back. Marcus, I just wanted to clear the air. Maybe meet for coffee? I almost deleted the message, but something in me wanted to see this through. Not because I needed closure. I had already moved past this, but because I wanted to watch him squirm. So, I agreed. We met at a sleek downtown cafe, one I used to walk past when I worked at Meridian, dreaming of the day I'd have time to enjoy a slow morning with no deadlines looming over me. Today, I walked in as a woman who controlled her future, not one trapped by corporate politics. Marcus was already there, looking a little thinner, a little more exhausted, with none of his usual arrogance. "Izzy, hey?" he said with a nervous smile. I didn't bother with pleasantries. I sat down, stirring a spoon through my cappuccino, waiting. Marcus exhaled heavily. "Look, I just wanted to say that I screwed up. I see that now." I raised an eyebrow. "Took you long enough." He nodded, rubbing his temples. "Yeah, well, losing everything puts things into perspective. Meridian is barely staying afloat. Jessica quit a month ago, couldn't handle the pressure. The board regrets ever promoting her. They're scrambling." I smirked. "How unfortunate." He winced. "Look, Izzy, I know I messed up. I should have valued you more. I should have listened. If I could go back," I cut him off. "But you can't." Marcus swallowed, looking down at his coffee. "Yeah, I know." For the first time, I felt nothing for him. No anger, no bitterness, no desire for revenge. I had won, and I didn't need his regret to validate that. I leaned forward. "Marcus, let me ask you something. If Meridian hadn't fallen apart, would you be sitting here right now, apologizing?" He hesitated. Too long. I smiled. That was all the answer I needed. I stood up, tossing a few bills on the table. "Good luck, Marcus. You're going to need it." As I walked out, my phone buzzed with a notification. Breaking news: Chen Industries secures multi-million-dollar deal, cementing its place as an industry leader. I glanced back at Marcus through the cafe window. He was staring at his phone, probably reading the same headline, his expression frozen in disbelief. I turned away, stepping into the bright morning sun, a victorious smile on my lips. Success wasn't about proving Marcus wrong anymore. It was about proving myself right. And I had done exactly that. Days after my final meeting with Marcus, I should have felt completely at peace. I had won. Meridian Corp was crumbling, my career was thriving, and my name was now synonymous with innovation and success. But something nagged at me, a feeling that the story wasn't quite over. Then, one evening, as I was finalizing an expansion plan for Chen Industries, I received an email. Subject: urgent inquiry, confidential. My eyes narrowed as I read the sender's name. Jessica. For a moment, I simply stared at the screen. I had barely thought about her since leaving Meridian. Last I heard, she had floundered in her promotion, unable to maintain the illusion that she was capable. And now, why was she contacting me? I clicked the email. "Izzy, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I need your help. You were right about everything. Marcus played us all. He promoted me because he thought he could control me. He never cared about who was actually capable. I was too blind to see it then. Meridian's board is in chaos, and now there's talk of them selling the company. If that happens, it will go to one of our biggest competitors, and they'll erase everything I worked for. I don't expect you to care about me, but I know you care about the industry. I heard you turned down their offer to bring you back, but what if you didn't just reject them? What if you bought them out instead? I know you have the resources, and if anyone deserves to run that company, it's you." "Jessica?" I exhaled, leaning back in my chair. "Buy out Meridian?" The thought had never crossed my mind. Not because I couldn't. It would take effort. But with my current position at Chen Industries, it was entirely possible. I had spent so long thinking about destroying Meridian, but what if I could rebuild it instead? Not as the broken, corrupt company that undervalued me, but as something new, something better. I drummed my fingers on my desk, considering my options. Then, before I could second-guess myself, I picked up my phone and called Robert Chen. "Robert," I said as he answered, "I have a proposal, and you're going to love it." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Chen Industries made an offer that the struggling Meridian Corp couldn't refuse. The board, desperate for a way out, accepted the deal within days. The day the sale was finalized, I stood in the conference room where Marcus had once belittled me. The same room where I had been passed over, dismissed, underestimated. But this time, I was the one in control. I turned to the now empty office where Marcus once sat. He was gone, a relic of a failed system that had crumbled under its own arrogance. And I had just turned my greatest loss into my most powerful victory. Life has a way of teaching us lessons in the most unexpected ways. For me, being overlooked and underestimated turned out to be the greatest gift. If Marcus had valued my work, I might have stayed at Meridian forever, never realizing my full potential. Sometimes rejection isn't the end. It's a redirection to something greater. This story isn't just about corporate betrayal and redemption. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle. It's about standing up for your work, fighting for what you deserve, and proving, through actions, not words, that success belongs to those who create real value. Meridian crumbled because they built their foundation on office politics rather than true talent. Meanwhile, I flourished because I focused on results, integrity, and innovation. So, what do you think? Did Izzy make the right move by taking over the company that once rejected her? Would you have done the same? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Scylla Reddit Stories for more thrilling, revenge-filled, and inspiring tales. Stay tuned for the next episode. You won't want to miss it.